Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, ministers are looking at allowing increases in council tax to pay for social care. The move comes amid warnings that the system is facing a crisis, with hundreds of care homes on the brink of financial ruin. Councils are expected to be given permission to raise an extra 2%, the equivalent of £23 on an average house. But there is scepticism that the money will be enough to cover the large cuts to council funding in recent years or to meet the ever-rising demand of an ageing population. Our political editor, Gary Gibbon, reports.
Local government spending on care has dropped nearly 10% in the last 5 years. The number of elderly people needing care goes up by about 1 million every 5 years. Some thought the government was going to act to repair the funding gap in the autumn statement just under 3 weeks ago, but it wasn't to be. Only last month, in the run-up to the autumn statement, the Chancellor, Philip Hammond, was trying to get a 2% precept allowed on council tax bills for social care. That will be on top of the 2% that's already allowed. But back then, Theresa May was having none of it. It seems as though her opposition has collapsed in the face of a collective howl of pain from the sector. How big is the crisis that's being addressed?
It's huge. I mean, we know demographic changes are having a massive impact on our society. Demand for care services is huge. I think we're in unprecedented waters. I don't think we've ever seen pressures as extreme as the sector is facing today.
Sources close to Philip Hammond privately confirmed the earlier battle with Number 10. The Chancellor told a select committee it wasn't true.
Is this true?
No, as so often, these stories are not.
Number 10 insists that extra money alone is not the cure for the problems in care. It points to vast disparities between different areas of the country in terms of how many days of hospital bed occupancy are wasted because of patients ready to leave, but there isn't care in place to look after them. They're called delayed discharge from hospital days in the jargon. In Stockton-on-Tees last year, there wasn't a single day wasted with patients hanging around unnecessarily in hospital. In Birmingham, a whopping 36,000 days were spent in hospital by patients with nowhere else to go. The problems in the care sector are being multiplied as care homes like this one in Cheshire are closing because of pressure to make ends meet. More than 250 care homes have closed since March.
There's a lot of elderly people in hospitals now. They need placement in a care home, and if they are a council customer, i.e. they don't have assets of more than over £23,000 in their banks or anything, they're a council customer, they need placement in a care home that will take council customers, and quite a few of those are closing now, like this one.
In poorer areas, a 2% precept has raised about £5 per head of population, compared with £15 per head in more prosperous areas. And that 2% precept has often got swallowed up fast.
Those authorities who have raised it, and most, by far the majority, have raised it, but a few have not. That tax levy raised about £380 million. The national living wage actually cost local authorities £600 million.
Many hospitals and care services are at a tipping point, both jealously guarding scarce resources just when they need to work together more than ever.
Well, Gary joins us now from Westminster. Gary, we saw the Chancellor talking in that select committee about social care, but he also strayed onto the thorny issue of Brexit as well, didn't he?
They very much lured him onto that terrain, and he was asked whether he was in favour of a transitional arrangement. So Britain, on leaving, doesn't just jump to a new status, but has some sort of intermediate status for a period as yet unknown. And this is a very hot potato amongst not least Conservative MPs at the moment. Hard Brexiteers aren't so keen. Hard Remainers think it might be the Holy Grail, and there's an awful lot of people in between. Well, Philip Hammond has now been extremely clear on where he stands on this whole issue. He said there is an emerging view amongst business, regulators and thoughtful politicians having a longer period to manage adjustment
would be generally helpful. Now, it rather begs the question who he thinks are the thoughtless politicians, but he definitely, I suspect, is definitely including himself in the thoughtful politicians category. We'd already heard a few weeks ago from Theresa May saying she acknowledged that business were worried about a cliff edge when Britain comes out. And we've also heard recently through a leaked document that David Davis is a little bit warier, less enchanted with the whole idea of a transitional arrangement. It could well be that he's playing a game where he doesn't want to make it obvious to our negotiating partners that that's what we want, but we do now know exactly what Philip Hammond wants.
Gary, thoughtful as ever, thank you very much.
I've been getting